Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle.
Cobra, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to get here with my astute colleagues and dissect books. And this book is no different.
Excellent. I also like dissecting these books with you gentlemen. All right, Genome, we are going to add from the East Coast all the way. Good. And of course, from Florida. We don't hold it against them, though. The mighty Metarog. Please welcome to the stream, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Great to be here once again with the Kooky Quartet and my favorite Fortnite Thursday when we delve into the best aspects of comics, which is creators' notes, where we eviscerate, where we elucidate, and we don't accommodate anybody.
Oh, man, I bet when Metarog was back in Miami, he was beast mode on the dozens, man. He fucking threw the rhyme down.
You been watching wrestling lately? Or?
Yeah, I know. Major boy on you.
I'm watching a lot of, Biggie Shaq, and it rubs off.
Oh, does it ever, right? Like, I can't help it sometimes. So, yeah, let's, how many people we got on the stream? Let me just pull it up here. My own thing never comes up on my my stream.
Oh yeah. So we got a bunch of homies.
Anyway, sorry guys, I didn't mean to sorry, I didn't mean to drift off there.
We're used to it, brother.
All right, here we go. This is the thing, always on my channel. It's the let's see what we can do, Dave. Let's help him along. He doesn't know how to use a computer, apparently. Anyways, we've got a few people here in the chat, Newbie Comics. If everybody hasn't gone to Newbie Comics, he's got a great new channel. He's really coming on strong here with the comic community. New World Order of Comics, which is Biggie Shaq in disguise. Nice try. I think YouTube's going to see through it there, punk. Of course, Belfry Comics. Don't know if I've seen you here before, but glad to see you here in the chat. Welcome to the show. Tom Kenoff, hello to you, Tom. Welcome to the show. New World Order of Comics, again, stop spamming my chat. Unruly Simeon, Graders Note alumni. He's always welcome here in the chat. Hello, Wayne. Werewolf by Lunchtime, a great YouTuber, real good supporter of the community, very funny gentleman from down under. And Jackson Roykirk, he joins us on Greater Note quite a bit. Welcome again, Jackson. What else do we got down here? Agent J.R. Ewing, of course. Again, he has been in our Graders Note chats a few times. So welcome back. I'm sure more people will join us here. But we can get started on the issue. As people trickle in, we'll probably do another round of introductions. I'll see what I can do. I'm nowhere near as good at it as some of these other gentlemen are, but like I said, this is my channel. You have to put up with what I do. So we're going to start. We'll start at the beginning. We always like to start with that cover, and let's bring it up to Mr. Genome. So I introduced you first. We might as well start with you first.
All right.
See how
cover it is.
Alone.
Drag me to the top corner in the left, and then hit the big button.
He's out.
That normally works.
I'm getting dizzy here.
Yeah, Dave. Oof. Okay, well, here we go. All right, the cover. Well, first off, full disclosure, I had a little problem with my book. See, I ordered it. It came in, then I realized two idiots had written all over the damn thing. But so yeah, I got a little bit different copy than they do, but yeah. So here's my G.I. Joe number 34 cover. A few people signed on who these guys are, Zek and Beatty, but whoever they are, what a cover, man! I saw this when Dave picked out last week, and I was like, oh yeah, we got to do this. So beautiful action cover, and it's kind of a little more of an adult theme if you get talent. You got the heroes in peril, which is a cool thing, but you got like their broken canopy up here, which means their oxygen's getting low. They're not wearing their masks like they should be, by the way. You got missiles flying in, the Gatling guns back there just going crazy. And yeah, what a cover, man. What more can you say? I do have a small nitpick or two about this cover. There's always something, right? is I think the scale might be a tiny bit off here. It seems like the tail section is a little bit closer than it should be here. And there's maybe a slight strange twist here, but really, I mean, it's a pretty hard thing to draw. And it's just so cool. That A10 bearing down on them from the back is just stellar. Good face, good look at the face. You see, they really did a close-up shot. This is more like a long shot cover it should be, but I really like it, man. I don't know what else you can say. It's just so cool, man. The plane is riddled with freaking bullets. Like I said, you got the heat seeker rolling in there, and then the A10's got this kind of the askance view back there while Weasel's moving in for the kill. So beautiful cover, interesting stark orange background too. So I kind of dig on that too. It helps it apart. You think it'd be like a blue because they're up in the sky, but no, they made this one orange. So kind of nifty. So yeah, it's a classic cover, I think, and one definitely called out to me. I'm going to go with a 4 on the cover. I think it's a great action shot. There's some cool angles in there. It's a cool design. And yeah, just a 4. I think it's a really awesome cover. Now, if Dave ever comes back, I'll have to sit here and entertain everybody for a while. We're moving about now.
We're moving on. Okay, so good review. Couldn't agree more with you on some points that you were talking about there at the cover. Let's go to Metarog. Seems like 84 is taking a powder. So, Metarog, sir, how did you feel about this cover?
Do you have a digital copy to put up, guys? So I can. There we go. Very fabulous. Well, I can't add a whole lot to what Genome says about this cover. I pretty much was going to talk about the same points. But I will say one thing, that this cover sort of harkens back to the 40s and 50s LB Cole covers, and the Golden Age artists, where you have these dog fights, even the DC covers with Enemy Ace, etc., with the World War One. It has that kind of visceral impact, which is kind of different. It's kind of unique for G.I. Joe, being that it was ostensibly geared more toward the younger audience because of the animated show, etc. I agree that the Rattler back there homing in on the tail, and this also reflects what's going on inside the story. It's very, very story accurate. If you will, with Lady Jane in the back seat, you see, the consternation in the faces of Ace there. Like you said, the back of the plane being, shredded. Their perspective is a little bit off, like Genome said. It just seems like it's a little bit off, and the color, the background, although nice, it's so red, so orange. It's a little bit distracting. Maybe a little bit of a muted tone would have been a little better. But I guess it really brings out the foreground a bit. So I can understand why that happened. I wish they didn't put that UPC in there. I hate those things. Of course, it has the classic G.I. Joe dress up there, which is, one of the most recognizable, I think, trademarks around. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to really hit on this, honestly. Zek and Beatty are masters. I'm a huge fan of theirs for obvious reasons. They're just their pencils are so tight. They never take, any shortcuts. This was so well rendered here. I too, like Genome, I give it a 4. I mean, it's a little distracting with that really bright background, and that perspective is just a little bit wonky, but really, guys, this is a fabulous cover, and it really, really, when you see this and you read the comic, it's sort of like, it's a relief because you actually delivered what the cover sort of intimates for.
Well said, Metarog.
Yes, definitely well said. So you had lots to talk about. You always have lots to talk about. And yeah, very impressive copy that you pulled pulled out of the air there, David.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got it the night you mentioned it, and I started looking around, and it just jumped out at me.
Yeah. When you said something was wrong with it, I was like, what?
Yeah,
it is wrong. I couldn't get it in a 9.
Fool's joke.
Yeah, I couldn't get it in a 9. That
it,
was what was wrong.
I couldn't believe you busted that out. That's crazy. You bought that after he picked it, right? You didn't have that.
No, I just bought it right after he picked it. I got on. I was looking for it because I was finding all kinds of like $10 stuff and all that, and it's like, bam! All of a sudden, there that pops up. It's the first flop I've ever actually bought. So,
wow, incredible!
Wow, that's a beauty.
Yeah,
that's a beauty.
Really neat.
Beauty.
It's not 9.8. You should probably just give it to me.
I know. I just scrap. I'll send it up north. I have your address now. It costs more than a book to ship it up there, even with signatures.
All right, Kenny, you're up, my friend. How did you feel about the cover going into this one?
Here we go. So I got my copy here. I don't have that. I got the cool Spider-Man head direct edition, not that UPC newsstand. So there's things I like about this cover, and there's things that I'm not too crazy about. I think conceptually awesome. I mean, great scene that they're setting up. Dogfight, airplane dogfight. Love that. I think the plane in the background is incredible. Flawless. Looks great. Missile firing in. Man, that is perfect. That is perfect. The plane in the foreground, I think, is a little wonky. It reads a little weird to me. I think there's some positioning of stuff I think could have been tweaked a little bit. For example, I think the cockpit thing that's like cutting right through Lady J's face was not the best idea. I think you could have designed it to avoid that. It was a little eye-catching to me that's running right through her face. I feel like the plane in the rear is just so accurate that he probably used some kind of reference or something. In the cockpit in the front, the angle seems weird, like the tail being right there. Just the perspective feels off. I also think that there's like a little bit of free real estate up here that I think if he tilted this plane, how do I get my hand going? Tilted this plane that way a little bit, it would have positioned it better. And like the fact that this rudder shows up through his windshield, I don't love that because there's no like glass effect over it. I feel like you should have put some glass texture in front of the way that rudder shows up behind the windshield. Like that should, in theory, be seen through 2 layers of glass, and it just looks, it's rendered the same exact way as the other one. So, I think once you get down here, there's a lot of missteps. There's a lot of missteps in the foreground, but the background and the concept is fantastic. I would have went with a different color choice for the sky. I think the orange doesn't serve it that well. I think maybe I don't know if blue is too obvious, but a bluish type sky, maybe dusk, something, but just a flat orange, not enough gradient. It almost doesn't read like a sky to me. But again, the conceptually fantastic. The rear plane I love. Trade dress I love. But it gets a little off the rails. I landed on a 3 for this.
Bring everybody back. I'm sure there's a much easier way to do this, but I don't know.
You don't have to put us backstage when you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little button on the top left of each of our faces that you can full screen us.
Yeah.
See that?
There you go.
We can still hear you.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There you go.
Now we're cooking with gas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess it's up to me for the last bit of the cover here. Sorry, I'll stop screwing around with the computer, trying to figure it out. One of these days, I'll just like spend 10 hours just streaming, figuring it out. All right, so let me do this. No buttons, solo layout. All right, so G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero, number 34. There was a lot of stuff you guys said that I agree with. Like, I don't know how too off the perspective on that plane is. Like, it kind of is. If I covered up this wing and just left this other wing, it would look okay. You know what I mean? Like, it would look like, can't do it from that angle, right? Like, it would look like all of a sudden that tail, the whole plane extended out. But I mean, man, like the way Mike has got this thing going, that you can just feel like the wild weasel's bearing down on him, right? Yeah, the glass stuff, a little bit. You can't get too fancy. It is just a Marvel comic, right? This is not digital. Mike would be doing all this with, pen and paper, pencils, right? So, I mean, when you think of the '80s, you got to think Mike Zeck when it comes to covers. I mean, just super iconic covers like the Punisher #1 limited series and the Craven's Last Hunt covers that he did, right? These are like mega iconic. But he did a lot of G.I. Joe covers, right? G.I. Joe during this period of time was like one of Marvel's best sellers. Like, it was selling right up there with Spider-Man. So they wanted a good cover artist to help out with that stuff. And they brought in Mike Zeck to do a lot of the stuff. And I particularly like it. I mean, there's better G.I. Joe Mike Zeck covers than this one, but this one has a lot of action going on. It definitely tells you what's inside this book. Right away, you're like, whoa, what's happening here? Like, this looks like Wild Weasels. If you're a fan of G.I. Joe, you know who all these characters are by this point. And, who wouldn't want to see a showdown between Ace and Wild Weasel? Like, I would immediately snap this up. The orange isn't bad because everybody else is blue and white, so they want those airplanes to stand out, which makes the color of an orange helps out that, right? Gets that blue to pop forward, brings the characters forward, and the background's back, right? When you have something like that popping out. But yeah, it is a little orangey, like I guess you could say it's a sunset or whatever, but still, it's like a little bit too orangey for me. Even they could have muted that down just a little bit more to the range down here than this really dark orange they had. But overall, I thought it was really good. It shows me what's going on. Perspective is kind of cool. That whole all the airplanes, are generally rendered well. Right, this one they might be doing like a weird perspective, kind of tight turn there. But other than that, I gave the cover a 4 as well. All right.
Wow.
Look at that. So I added a 4.
Boom.
Boom.
Cool.
So this is the part of the show where we are going to ask our chat people. If you guys could please give us a grade, how you felt this cover was. I'll put the cover back up here. Can we do that? Oh, there you go. Whoa. How did that happen?
Hold on.
Oh, you're moving it. You're getting ready for the first page. I'm like, what did I do now? Okay. So how did you guys feel about this cover when you're taking a look at it? Mike Zeck, megastar of the 80s. Give us a grade out of 5. And how did you feel? So vote now.
I should have had some more references up there, of the Zeki goodness from the day, but
Oh
yeah. I mean, everyone knows Mikey from the time, right? So,
Oh yeah.
Punisher, baby. Oh, that's a cool one.
The Master. Oh, Big Nothing. Everyone must have this one. But yeah, fun stuff, fun cover, and a lot different, a lot of machinery. That's not usually known for like Zek stuff. That's more like an old school kind of thing. And this is kind of cool to see him get out of there. That like Kenny says too, that rattler in the back is razor sharp back there.
Yeah.
And I like your analogy there, Roger, with like back to the golden age, because it very much, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, this is very much like those dogfight covers you used to see, right?
Yeah.
What was your grade, Dave?
4.
4. Oh, a couple of good.
Yeah, I have a few that have a similar scene. This is a little more in your face than those. Usually they're a little further apart, but the concept is very much in those golden age LB Cole covers. Oh, love them.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a few new people that have joined the chat since we started here. Comic Makes Musings. I see that you've joined us now. Thanks for joining us. Funk, you're always welcome to join us here on Creators Notes. Poor Mike, welcome to here. The Gray Man, of course, from over the pond, who still hasn't gotten his prize from our still a month ago, a month before.
Wow.
So unsure what's happening there, whether it's been lost now, maybe something happened. I don't know. He'll get it. I'm gonna, just have hope, and he'll end up getting it.
Yeah, it'll get there.
Sort of delay going on.
I hope you double insured it.
I double insured. It was like not worth nothing, but so yeah, it's still on the way. Apparently, Gray Man. I don't know what to tell you, brother. Yeah. So
I think the chat grade might lay in my favor here. We'll see. We're gonna get.
Yeah, no.
Kenny's looking good. Yep.
Yeah.
They're voting low.
Kenny's looking good. Kenny's looking good.
Awful. Amazing cover. Really a fun one.
Are you adding these up, Genome? Or
yeah, as I go.
Yeah, okay.
It's weird. My calculator used to do a thing where it showed you all the numbers across. So I'm going to have to like scroll up on my calculator now to, I don't know why it changed, but after an update. So now it's like all on the side. And so I can't count how many were in there.
Yeah.
So I can get the average so easily. So
I
get my Excel
three.
open.
I predict a 3. I think Kenny hit it on the nose here.
The 3?
I think we had this thing at 3. We're shutting the stream down.
I'm due for a little chat simpatico. I feel like I've been off base with the chat in recent episodes, so I'm hoping that this one we're all in sync.
It's looking good for this one at least.
How many did Zach and Beatty do on the G.I. Joe run? I don't remember them having a long run there. Were they just pinch hitting? Yeah.
Zach did some others. I don't remember of Zach Beatty, but I know Zach did several others later on.
Yeah, like he did. He was right around in the 21s, and then 26, and then he get some more later on. And he did quite a few.
He did quite a few in the 40s and 50s even, I think.
Remember this, like I said, this comic was a big seller. Big seller at the time. 86.
Oh, yeah.
86, this comic book had a toy line and a Saturday morning cartoon back in it.
Oh, yeah. I love the cartoon. I love the small figures.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about it.
That Rattler back there looks just like the toy. I mean, dead on.
Yeah, really good.
Dead on the toy, yeah.
My parents never sprung for the vehicles. My guys were always on foot. There was a lot of boots on the ground battles at my house.
We got a chat grade.
What you got, Genome? I think we're good.
I think that's all of them. So let me do some counting here. Give me a second.
Some deep thought.
Oh, Jackson Reichert didn't like Zach.
That was that guy.
Yeah, each their own. You know what I mean? Like you're totally
Russ, you're killing me, man. I just did the number. Oh, all right. Can someone read them to me real quick? I'm gonna have to cancel this back out because it's gonna change everything.
Want me to read the numbers to you?
Yeah, if you would give me 1 second. Let me get another count pulled up here.
Sure.
Wish I had Excel going.
It's all right. Welcome, Russ. Good to see you, and good to see you, Kachum.
All right, hit me with them.
3.5, 2.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.0, 3.0, 4.0, 3.0, 3.0, 3.0.
And didn't Russ have a 3.5 there?
That was the first one I gave you.
Okay.
I went backwards.
All right, let's try this again. So we should have had. It comes in at a 3.55555555556. So
all right.
They met us in the middle.
Looks like a 3.5. Okay, I was a little worried there for a second.
Yeah, the later grades went up a bit. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, so let's move on to our next category, and we'll just stick with the art. Let's do the interior of this place, not a Mike Zeck issue for the interiors, right? Different artists going outside. Did he pull it off? Let's start with who did we go with last time? Metarog? Let's go with you, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So Wiggum, I think, did the art on this. And who did the inking on this? I forgot. Who did the inking on this, guys?
Andy Mashinsky.
Mashinsky. Okay. Could you put that back up there, Miracle? Put
Maybe.
the issue back up there. Okay. So I'm not going to get into the story because that's, but what I find unusual here, right, is that this is only really 4 characters, right, that he has to draw. So there's usually G.I. Joe has, you know, a huge cast of characters. So there's little doubt about who it is, right? Now, overall, I think this is a good art. Really, I mean, it's when you consider G.I. Joe, you have to think that they're trying to make it so that it kind of jives with the animated series, right? So you're not going to see a whole lot of stylistic kind of G.I. Joe art, right? Especially during the beginning. Some of the panels, some of the layouts are a little claustrophobic for me. And that's just like a personal problem I have. Generally, when there's dogfighting, when you're talking about things that are in big expanses, I'd rather them have a little bit of a more telescopic view. Some of them, you know, like their Lady J, you're a very small rectangular panel. That's all you see. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I wish that there were more of the expansive panels. Now, that being said, there are quite a few of them, and you see some are horizontal, some are vertical. When he hits the afterburners and goes straight up, he's got a nice skinny vertical panel. That's good. That's great. I think the planes are top notch drawn. Right, they're consistently drawn. They look like the animated series and the toy to a great degree. Now, and some of the faces are, again, not very detailed, but again, I think that is sort of on purpose because they don't want to give anybody a super distinctive look. They want it to look like the animated series, which had a much more limited way of animation, you know, when you see it on a screen, right? The color is what I have a problem with this comic here. I don't know if this was done with that dreaded flexographic process, where it's these like minute dots that are injected with ink or something, but the colors just seem like just off. You know, they're either way too oversaturated or they're just too muted. There doesn't seem to be a good medium there about what a color, constant color scheme, like that Sky Striker right there. See, it looks almost like a plastic airplane because of the way that the color and the background is sort of coming together there. Again, I'm doing it on digital, so maybe in hand it looks different, right? But that's one thing that kind of I noticed, and it's a little distracting to me, that just oversaturation and then lack of saturation of color back and forth is kind of distracting me to me. But otherwise, great air action scenes, dogfight scenes. The emotions and the explosions like that are just so dynamic. Honestly, if you saw the animated series and you read this comic, or you saw the comic, the art, I think you would be just blown away because you have a lot of onomatopoeia like that. You have a lot of streaks, and you have a lot of shards coming off of the planes. You have smoke from the battles, all the kind of art that goes on when you're shooting at each other, and the plane is essentially being torn apart, right? So very appropriate art. I wish that it was a little bit better colored, or the process was better. That is not a slam against the artist or even the colorist. It may be that this was what they had on hand. But and a little bit of a claustrophobic, those little small panels, for my vision, I wish they were a little big on some of those. But nitpicking, I still think it's very effective, and nothing, out of place, nothing really over the top bad. There's one scene where the Rattler goes in front of a yard of a house, and it looks like it went through the house because it's like literally right on the yard. I think that's, except for a VTOL, that should be physically impossible to do. Maybe you guys who know a little bit more about flying will scoop me on that one. But again, just that one there, exactly right there. It just looks impossible there, and the streaks looks like it's coming from the inside of the house. So there's a little bit of issue there. But honestly, I think it's really for a kid reading this comic and seeing this art, I think they would be blown away. So I gave it a 3.5.
Well done, Metarog. Mr. Miracle's muted. There you go.
Yeah, I know. 3 guys.
Right,
3.5. That's a good grade. I pretty agree with that one. We're gonna go over to Kenny. Kenny, you're up on our rotation today.
I'm up.
You're up. So how did you feel about the interior art after Metarog gushing over it so much?
Yeah, I mean, this thing is a treat to read. I'll say that. To look at. This opening page starts out strong. I love that that double page splash. It sets the tone that we're going to be pretty much dealing with pretty well rendered planes throughout the whole book, and that is something that is definitely done. I imagine there was a lot of reference work to help these guys, get these things down or something. But man, the planes look awesome in flight. Great angles when they're showing the planes whipping around. To have the hole that way, missiles firing, all that good stuff. So all the plane rendering is high marks. The coloring is interesting. Overall, I dig it. There's something about the process of the color blue that is off. Like, because I think that the Joe plane always looks fantastic. I kind of like where is it? I always think the Joe plane looks awesome with the white mostly, and then the other colors accented. But the blue is always just a little muddied. When they shade black on top of the blue, it just looks real muddy. The blue in the cockpit, I think that's a process thing, but the Cobra plane never looks as awesome as the Joe one does, and I think it's just because that blue color just muddies it out, and you don't get to see a lot of the detail that you see in the other plane because of it. So there's that. As far as like the color palette, they do this funky thing with the clouds because it is kind of like sun. It's like what do you call it? Dusk, right? When you're first approaching sundown, and they do like this cool pink yellow tint on the clouds throughout the whole book. I think even on that splash page, they do the same thing. That pink kind of tint on the clouds. I think that looks awesome. It's very scenic. It sets the tone of dusk for me, and I think that's great. Now, what this particular artist doesn't have a complete grasp on for me is the panel layout. So he's like trying to go outside the box in some moments, and sometimes it pays off, and a lot of times it doesn't. So like he's always doing these weird things that I find unnecessary. Like on this page here, there's really no reason that this panel needs to overlap like a quarter of an inch into the other one. It just makes it look funky. There's not like a clear way that your eye should travel through this page. And I think it's too many little boxes. To Metarog's point, he needs to let the pages breathe a little more, because he's always got these little overlapping, shots happening, and it makes it feel a little congested. There's times when it pays off. Like I think this last page, which is really kind of like unorthodox paneling, I think it pays off well. I think that scaled back crossing up top, the mirroring close-ups in the middle, and then the way he pulled off the salute in the planes cross, I think that's a well-executed page with funky panel layouts. So it paid off in a couple moments, but overall, I think he got a little busy with the panel layouts, and especially when you're talking like air flight battles, you should really let the pages breathe. You don't need to be so up close and personal with it, to Metarog's point. So, yeah, that's my overall take. I think it's largely well rendered, good stuff. I think the people are drawn fine. I landed on a 3.5 as well.
Nice.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
What happened to David? Oh, we lost him.
And Genome took off.
He's probably admiring his slab.
Yeah, no doubt.
He wanted some personal time with his slab.
See, look how happy he is to have that comic book.
I was so delighted to see him bust that out. That was so cool.
I know. I was like, oh, cool.
I was in shock. Honestly.
Yeah, some nice signatures on there. I mean,
his internet dropped. He says he's resetting his router.
That's like that's an easy pickup, like with some good sigs on it, right? For cheap. I'm sure he didn't pay a whole lot for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me go. I will talk about the interior art. There we go. So a lot of like stuff that you guys said I would like 100% agree with. Like some of these panels are good. Lots of them are weirdly laid out. I looked into the artist a little bit, and I believe that this is one of the very first comic, if not the very first comic he did for Marvel. Anyway, right? So this is really early in his career. I love the airplanes he draws them so well throughout this whole thing. He's got like cockpit layouts are good too, right? Like lots of like technical stuff in the background, like cockpits when they're looking over shoulders. You can't have a whole lot of detailing backgrounds in a sky, right? Like you just got to draw sky sometimes. He does stick with that kind of more muted yellow, like you guys were saying. That helps to, accentuate that. Some of the planes keep things going. Some of the things that bother me are a little too immature. Like we don't need zip lines off the back of everything that's moving all the time, right? It's, 2 black lines are following every plane everywhere, or 10 black lines. Like you can see them every single panel, every time they're flying anywhere. Missiles, same thing. Bullets, same thing. Everything's flying. Show me 2 pictures of an airplanes in the sky, like doing stuff and shooting at each other. You don't have to do the little zip lines for me to know that they're moving, right? So it is based on a toy line. A lot of artists wouldn't touch G.I. Joe simply based on the fact that it's based on a toy line, and they didn't have a lot of freedom with what they could do. Some of this stuff is cool though. Like I like opposing shots where you like quickly switching from opposing shots, but the same shot, right? Like he does that quite a bit through here in the book, where it's like an opposing shot between Ace and Wild Weasel. And so you're always feeling in the book, like the art is always saying like, this is a pretty even match between these guys, like shot for shot, comic book shot for shot stuff as well. Good splash pages, right? That opening page, really nicely rendered, airplanes and stuff when they're taking off. Everybody loves this shakedown page, right? And I did like it. I thought, like I said, a few things bother me. A couple things that were out of perspective. The zip lines off of every single thing. I didn't really need it. Even here, like as Wild Weasel's pulling the control stick, put some zip lines behind that. Make sure he's like moving the control stick, right? I get it. again, it is for a more slightly younger audience than what we are now, and I didn't really notice that as much when I was a younger person. So, but generally, very well done. Good perspectives, good action throughout the whole book, and I landed on a 3 for the interior.
All right.
Are we losing more people? Oh, there we are.
I'm back. What was Kenny's score?
What did Kenny put down?
3.5.
3.5.
3.5. All right, David. So you, sir, are up. How did you feel about? Oh, what was the artist's name again? I can't remember. What was his name?
Rod Wiggum.
Wiggum.
I always think of
Wiggum,
freaking
right.
Simpsons.
How did you feel about Wiggum's art here in the interior of this book?
All right. Yashi, you want to share the? Oh, do I need to share the screen again? Hold on. Sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. I won't change pages too much, but okay, the art. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than my contemporaries on this one, and I really love the art in this book. This whole layout of this book does something that's very important in movies, and I'm not sure if this was discussed while I got dropped off the line or whatever, but it's like the rule of 180. It's all throughout this book. If you look, I'm gonna have to look over here because it's on my third screen, but if you look here, almost every scene where you see either Ace or Wild Weasel or their respective planes in different panels, they're always facing the opposite direction. That's kind of a movie thing, right? So like I hear you see Ace going to the looking to the right, and over here Wild Weasel to the left. Even their hands line up that way. Usually the jets do in some way. Stylistically, it's a very, very cool book, and it must have taken a lot of ruler work to do all these plane shots because there's tons of them. This whole book is nothing but one gigantic dogfight, and I think it's beautiful. Other than some of the colors being a bit distracting, pages like this really do it for me, man. I love this really stark, like backlit by the sun shot right here of the two planes crossing paths, and then they end it without even having to say a word, just with the pictures, which is really cool. Like two great warriors saluting each other, on the way through after a heck of a fight, right? Great stuff. But pages like this really do it for me. Let's see. I had a couple other ones picked out that I wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh, these shots here where the bullets are riddling the fuselages of these planes are just incredible. These guys never survive, but they even actually explain a little bit why they do survive in some of these shots. But I don't know, man. For a guy who's so good at drawing machines too, he actually does pretty good on some of the close-up faces. I'm sorry about the half-dressed women here, Dave. Just this big comic online is just riddled with it. So there was one panel. I mean, look at the chewed-up fuselage here. Looks awesome, man. And these planes take a pounding through here. There was another panel I really wanted to point out. I'm not gonna make y'all watch me keep shifting through here. This one right here, with the freaking Rattler firing off. So you got the flame coming out in the front and the back from the missile launches. You got missiles out here with the straight line. Oh, it's just beautiful with like the little wavy background underneath, or I guess over water or whatever. But if you look, I mean, they have some pretty good detail on the faces too. Like I was saying, for a guy who's drawing a lot of machines and stuff, it looks pretty good. They look much better when they get their helmets off. They didn't look too good with the helmet, but some of that's the character design too. You can't do much about it, but lots of cool perspective shots in this book. And I like the style of it, man. I love the look of some of this stuff. Just either simple silhouettes like this, or more detailed close-up shots. This book runs the gambit. This is one of the best like vehicle books I've ever seen, and I'd never heard of this guy before. So I was very pleasantly surprised with this. The color palette's a little off-putting, but once again, it's a children's toy line. They need bright primary colors to sell things. And yeah, Roger's right. It does get a bit muddy with the inking on the dark blue plane already as it is, so that's kind of difficult. It must have been a heck of a thing. I freaking loved it. I love the look of this, other than the color scheme. I went with a 4 actually, because I think it's just so cool. Yeah, there's some perspective problems a few times. That's going to happen on this is kind of a dense book too. It's like 21 pages here, so it's a lot going on, and it's going to happen from time to time. And there's a little bit issue sometimes, like some stiff looking characters like this. But I know I really dig it, man. This climbing, I think Roger also mentioned this one too. The long thin climbing panel, great little trick there. It even breaks the panel a little bit, which is a nice touch. I loved it. I gave it a 4. I think it was a great interior.
Nice.
All right, thank you. That's
Very nice.
in depth.
Yeah, well done. Yeah,
All
good point
right.
about that 180 thing. I didn't even think of that, but that's a good point. A very good point.
That was a good point. Yeah, I think I like.
They even do it on the very first page. On the first page, it shows one take off one direction, and the other one's completely the other opposite.
I was looking through it as you were saying it, and you're absolutely right. It's like everywhere.
Yeah, I was saying like the kind of these mirrored panels when I was doing my thing, but yeah, that's a Hollywood deal. So now, yeah, let's do the chat grade. This is the part where you guys do a little review of the interior for yourselves. How did you feel about it? How did you feel that you could,
Yeah, interiors by Wiggum.
Yep.
Chief
Wiggum.
Chief.
How do you feel that Wiggum did here on the interiors of this book? Do you feel like this could have definitely been done better by others, or did he really, really nail it? Please go ahead and give us your chat grade.
I wouldn't want anyone else to do this book, honestly, because I think they would have tried to get too stylized with it, and I think in this one they went more realistic, and I think it worked.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't think the artist is the problem here. I think the process is what kind of made it a little off-putting to me.
Look at the color between the two pages. The difference here between the runway, the darkness, even the clouds up here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of symbolism, between the colors as well. When you think about it, the Sky Striker is the good guys, and then you have the Rattler with Wild Weasel, the bad guys. You have the black tarmac. You have the white, the lighter sky. There's a lot of symbolism there.
Ooh, Werewolf dropped the hammer with his one.
Yeah, he didn't like it. I got some old Zek Cap, believe me. Like his Deathlock cover, I think it's 286, is like one of my favorite top 10 covers of all time.
I agree with you, Gino. That when I saw that one on the rack, I was like, mine.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't grab it quick enough.
I think it's
which one?
I think it's Cap 286. I was trying to find it in my pile. I couldn't find it in my pile over there, but I have it.
286, 280. Yeah, I think it's 286. It's a multi-port story, so it's 286 through 287. Maybe it's 288. Yeah.
It's number 286.
Oh, the one with Deathlock on it?
Yeah.
He's got the scope, and you see the reflection of Cap in it.
Here, let me. I'll share it for you.
Oh yeah, Cap's Zek's Cap stuff really is fantastic.
That
and he has some Master of Kung Fu, which are amazing as well.
There it is, right there. Yeah. So,
heck yeah.
So I know me some Zek. I like me some Zek.
But really, kind of an unsung hero for a long time. He's kind of coming into his own now, being recognized more.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because of his success here, they got him for Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars.
That iconic cover, number one.
Yeah. Oh, his number 10 was his best with Doom on the cover.
With Doom, and
great
again,
cover.
Oh my gosh,
just being destroyed, steam coming off of him. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, he was the '80s king, in my opinion.
Well, I'd say Byrne was the king, but Zek was right below him.
Byrne was a king in his own mind.
He probably still is.
No, Byrne was good too. There's so many great ones in the '80s, you know.
Yeah, it's opinions differ, and honestly, you can justify probably 10 artists in the '80s. It was just a really good time for art.
Yeah, I think there's lots of artists now that are really good too, like really good, surprisingly.
Oh
good.
yeah.
But
the '90s is where
there's so many iconic ones.
Not impressed with the totality of it.
All right, let me get my calculator pulled up if the grades are done.
What is this? Oh yeah, 286 to 289. Okay, yeah, that's a storyline. Yeah,
and 289 is a Zek cover as well. I actually have that someone signed by John. I was in a comic book store. I made a video about this years ago. Whatever, he just happened to be coming in that day. So, but 289 is one of the ones I have. That was also a Zek cover. That was a assistant editor's issue. That's a good point, Gore. By the way. That really pushed him he was nothing but a side character before that, and relegated to the dustbin of history, and all of a sudden, bam, miniseries by a hot artist, did some amazing realism covers, mini covers like that. I mean, that just pushed him into the stratosphere, especially the very first one. The very first one was just off the freaking charts amazing. So
yeah.
A little bit stylized too, but
he had a couple appearances in the Marvel mags, and then he had the Frank Miller appearance in Captain America, and then when the miniseries came, that's when he took off.
Yeah. Because it was so cool. Anyways.
There was no anti-heroes really back then. Very few, you know.
Very few. Yeah.
What did we get for a chat grade?
All right. Someone want to read them off to me real quick?
Yeah. 3.5, 3.0, 1, 3.5, 3.5, and another 3.5.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. We got, let's see.
Chat seems to be a bit tougher.
Yeah, I know, right?
Today, yeah.
I'm not easily impressed, this chat,
Yeah.
you know?
Screw that Zach guy. What does he know? Right.
Well, that's the cover. This is the interior.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, they're coming in at 2.57 on the cover, so 2.5
Harsh.
on the interior. I mean,
Serviceable.
First serviceable of the evening. I think it's an unfair grade. Glance through the whole book, and I think you'll find if nothing else, it's at least workman solid, I'd say.
I think you deserve better than that, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a G.I. Joe comic, so you can't look at it with the same eye as, again, the art has to be appropriate for the comic and the constraints. That sort of works into the grain as far as I'm concerned. If this was like, for example, if this was a Hulk comic, wouldn't work at all. But for this, it works.
Grading on a curve, are we, Roger?
Not on a curve. Not on a curve. Only because you have to conceive what it is they're going for here. This is not like, you're not going for adults here, right? You're going for the audience that you're targeting. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All art is, made to the people that it's for, right? Like you play to an audience. Kenny, we're going to go move along into the story part of the book. And I'm going to let you start, sir. You'll have fresh eyes on this. I know you have some opinions. You're a very good comic book reader.
Oh, thanks.
And you know what you're talking about. So let's hear what you thought about G.I. Joe 34.
Okay. So I will start with what I liked about it. There is tons of plain equipment and tactic jargon, air flight battle jargon. There's a couple sprinkled out when I think maybe it's on the very first page when they do stuff like this. When in the panel he's like, "Yeah, we need to check our ECM," and they're like, "Electronic countermeasures." Like they're giving you a lexicon to work with. So again, considering like what Metarog was saying, the target audience, this is probably a kid's first exposure to this stuff, and I would imagine they would be getting a kick out of it, and there'd be a little educated because it's all legitimate, terms and stuff that's being used. So it's almost a little educational, dare I say, of like, they didn't shy away from using the technical lingo on what is essentially a young audience book. And I think that's cool. And I would imagine, kids getting a kick of that. They didn't water that part down. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. I'm not too familiar with all the cast, but I just couldn't get over Wild Weasel's code name. That is something. So Wild Weasel is a cool name. I do think overall the pacing is they're pretty good at like building tension throughout the book, and you get the feel of that you're in like a plane fight, a chase. There's always like urgency, being like conveyed in these panels. Like when there's a moment when they establish she's a bit of a novice flyer, and when our boy's helmet gets cracked, it's like, oh no, the enemy's right on our tail. You got to take controls. My helmet's cracked. I can't drive this thing. And she's like, oh man. It's like that built tension in that moment, you know, and you need that when you're telling this kind of a story, a dogfight story. So that was all good. Now, when you consider this from a narrative perspective, in your motivations, why they're doing what they're doing, it is pretty tough to swallow, man. Like, as far as when you really think about what is happening here and you scale back, it's like, what the heck is going on? They're going on, I guess, like a routine flight, and you don't really, it seems like they have ulterior motives. Ace and Wild Weasel seem like they're like almost tricking these gals into these flights. They're like, why are we going on this flight? Don't worry, just come with me, just come with me. And I don't know if this was planned. Like, I feel like there's some subtext here that I don't understand, that maybe this salute at the end is like they just both planned to terrorize the two girls that were riding with them, Baroness and Miss J. But it makes no sense. They are like criminally, recklessly endangering everyone in this town. They're flying super low. They're blasting missiles. They're like getting so low that they're causing car accidents. And like, why are they're just straight firing missiles upon each other? Like, it's on site like that with G.I. Joe and Cobra? Like, it didn't seem like either of them were doing anything wrong. They're just like aiming to kill each other for practice or sport. And like, they don't care if civilians get in the way. And when you think of their motives, it's like this G.I. Joe guy is just as much of an enemy of the state as the Cobra is, with how reckless they are behaving. It's just crazy. The motives were crazy. This thing at the end, I didn't really get it. I guess they're just like, hats off on that battle. But jeepers crow, like, those missiles could have easily killed the other one. That part was wild. When I really try to think of it as a real story, it falls apart. But on the minutia of the building tension and stuff, and the jargon, like I said, is really cool. But overall, just a strange tale, if you ask me. I landed on a 2.5 because the minutia was cool enough to make it an invested read. But as I put any thought into the overall narrative, it really kind of falls apart, and it's not very satisfying in that department.
2.5. Man, that's quite the grade that you gave it, sir. I guess I'll be up next. I'm going to go next to Kenny and talk with the story. Personally, I love this story. Man, it is a dogfight from start to finish. And there's parts in this book where it looks like it's about to end, right? Like, they get involved. And yeah, if you don't know your G.I. Joe history, it is shoot on sight, G.I. Joe versus Cobra. I don't care about whatever's below them, Springfield or whatever is down below them. So yeah, Cobra lives in Springfield, by the way. So they fire missiles left, right, center. They kind of put a little bit in here where they're like, we can't fire it over the town. We got to wait till they're out at sea. But yeah, they rip the Vulcan cannon off on this thing, and like the 30 millimeter cannon is firing right over town, and missiles are flying. There's like tons of stuff where they're shooting, and you can see all the town right below. So yeah, but that's G.I. Joe, and like G.I. Joe, they have carte blanche to destroy Cobra at all costs, at anywhere they go, right? Like, that's the president has given them the A-OK to do that. Citizens be damned. But it's like the dogfight in this thing is so cool. Like I said, it seemed like to me in like 3 different places of this story that the dogfight was over, right? Like, okay, Wild Weasel's, making a break for it. No, Ace got back on his tail, right? And coming down, and then they get back into it again, and then Wild Weasel's making another break for it, and he blows up a junkyard, and then I've lost him, but as soon as he breaks the crowds, there he is, right? And they go in at each other. And it's left, right, and center, and all this tension's building up right up to the huge crescendo where they have a jet fighter versus jet fighter game of chicken with cannons blazing at each other as they come at each other. Awesome, right? When they're all out of ammo, both of them still flying, wounded each other terribly, but they're both still flying, to show each other the respect. They give each other the salute and fly off. Like, pilot respect over respect, whatever alliances that they have, be damned, right? They're just skill on skill. They have respect for one another and they take off. And of course, the ladies are like, why aren't you going after him? We could, why, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that whole respect thing. I mean, I like the fact that they set it up in the way that's like, it just happened to happen, right? It just happened that one day, Lady J was out doing her, rating for her, navigators system with Ace, who wanted to try out this brand new, Sky Striker. And it's that same day that, Wild Weasel wanted to show off the, brand new Rattler, the more advanced Rattler to the girl. Maybe they're trying to, hook them up later, right? Get the girls up there, like kind of like taking them on a roller coaster, get some thrills, maybe go back for some drinks later. I don't know. But I like the fact that it was just barely, like it just was like a coincidence, right? And they ended up having this huge dogfight, and then the whole like little respect thing at the end I thought was kind of neat and kind of cool. And yeah, I gave the story on this guy a 4. Like, yeah, I thought it was just as good as the cover. Really brought me in. Really good pacing, right? I never was like, oh, I wish this would end or whatever. It's not a wordy comic book. There's way more action than words in this book, and I liked it. That's what I wanted of a G.I. Joe story, right? Lots of action, little bit of words. Anyway, so I landed on a 4.
Nice.
Gino, you're going to be up next, my friend. How did you feel about the story? And I know you like G.I. Joe stories, so expunge away, my friend.
Yes, allow me to expunge here. So I had 2 small problems with this, and everything else I loved. The first one was I kind of disagree. I think it was a tiny bit wordy at sometimes. And I think sometimes they didn't have to say anything. The action served just fine. But really, I mean, am I going to complain about having too many good things to read? Because what was written was great. So tiny thing there. The one that irked me the most, though, was Baroness constantly calling Wild Weasel, Wild Weasel. Stop. Just call him Weasel or something. I don't care, but just stop every time she spoke to him. Wild Weasel, Wild Weasel. It's like he knows his name. Lady J wasn't doing that with Ace, so I don't know what that was about. Everything else about the story I absolutely loved. And I'm going to try not to go into all of it because a lot of it bleeds into the concept of this book as well. But what I really like about this book, and if you would, I got the screen shared again. I just want to bring up the panel that's showing here to kind of show you what I think that Larry was aiming for here. Was that Cobra and G.I. Joe are 2 sides of the same coin, right? They are just diametric opposites, but they have the same goal almost, other than one's defense, the other's offense, right? And so everything in this book is like a mirror image of the other. Like the same damage happens to the one plane as it does to the other. They have the same crew complement. They both show respect as warriors at the end. I think that was kind of what it was, is basically two samurai, whatever, showing each other swords at the end or whatever. It was just a mutual respect, regardless if they're on the opposing side, right? I thought the story was great. I think this is Larry saying, I don't feel like writing a kid's book this month. I'm going to write something that adults can really appreciate. And he went all out, because I don't know if this book would hold much of an interest for a child other than looking at the pictures, because there's just like a lot of technical jargon in there. So, yeah, I absolutely loved the story. He's not going to show it, is he? He just took off. But yeah, it's great. I mean, even the last couple panels just show the planes going different directions with the same damage. And the last 2, one is Wild Weasel and Baroness going one way, and Ace and Lady J going the other way. And they're both saying, and neither Baroness nor Lady J understands what's going on. So everything about this whole book is a mirror. And I really dug the style of it. I dug the technical aspects of it. They could have oversimplified it, but they didn't. And yeah, I gave it a 4. I thought this story was great, and it's so innovative to do an entire dogfight book. And it wasn't like they weren't damaging each other either, too. Like you expected the damage to come in the last couple pages. No, they start damaging each other within like page 4. So great stuff, fun idea, and well written. The story just moves along. Yeah, I gave it a 4. I think it was a really great one.
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, right? Like it is pretty innovative to just do like nothing but a dogfight. I mean, it's smart. Larry Hama was a good writer at G.I. Joe. I can tell you that.
I just realized I wasn't even sharing the screen. Duh. I'm sitting there saying, why is he not sharing the screen?
I was looking at that going, whenever. Okay, Metarog, how did you feel about the story, sir? Your last one.
All right. Yeah, Genome took a lot of my points. If you want to do the share screen thing, if you can, if not, no worries. Because exactly, this is like, if you consider a mirror universe, that's what these two organizations are, right? They have similar tech, they have similar skill. What they have, the divergent part is their philosophies, right? And notice again the 180 that we're talking about, right? And that not only is that in the way the art goes, it also is the way the dialogue goes, right? Although it crosses paths, right? And look how they make a X there. And Kenny, I don't think that this was the pilots trying to show off for the girls or anything like that. I think this is, one with the same similar compliment as their co-pilot, and that they actually cross paths. It's infinitesimal. It can't happen, but it does, right? And once you cross that barrier, then I think there's a lot of brilliance here, right? And I think Larry Hama, being a ex-military guy, that's why you have that jargon there, because that's part of what he brings to the game. And it's maybe somebody who knows more about this than I, but if it's not accurate, boy, it sure is convincing, right? And to me, I think it's a brilliant plot device that they use the co-pilot that is inexperienced, because that really brings out the dialogue. That's why the pilots have to be talking and explaining, because they're doing that for the benefit of their less experienced co-pilot. But us as readers, we are just soaking in that dialogue, that knowledge, and how the story is seamlessly used as a dialogue, but it's really telling us the story the way that the writer wants to tell us. And yeah, the pilots are, some of it is tropish, like Kenny. They're risky and they're reckless and they're ostentatious, all that stuff. But that's sort of when you're a kid, right? And you're looking at people going into space, things like that. Those are the people that really grab your attention, and that's why the story works, because it is an extension of that, right? You're trying to bring in the reader, you're trying to entertain them, and you're trying to sell toys as well, right? So when you have two planes, flying and just dogfighting and being these, zero turns, et cetera, and shooting up, vertically, almost like if it was a rocket, it sells comics, and that goes into the concept. So I'm not going to go too much of it, but the story is sort of intertwined with the concept at that point. But it's brilliant in the plot device they use to bring out the dialogue and make the story much more seamless. And yeah, at the end, there's a code of honor. Like if you read Enemy Ace, he would never shoot down a plane that was helpless. Okay, he would let them go, because at that point it's not fair, And at this point, it's not that they're like shooting each other up and just give up. They had no ammunition. Their planes is running out of fuel and they're being destroyed. So they tip their wings, they salute each other and say, "Next time, I'm gonna get you." So to me, it's almost like that end scene where you got the music, and the kind of the band plays, and that's where it ends. So I really thought the story went quick, although it is a little wordy. I think for a G.I. Joe comic, I think it's pretty wordy, but it went quick to me, and it had good pace. It ended at an appropriate time. It didn't overextend itself. And I think Hama and just used 4 characters, and that is really weird for a G.I. Joe comic. Usually it's at least 10 and 12, sometimes 20 characters in there, which he has to juggle. So I think there's much better dialogue here, much more three-dimensional aspects to these characters. Obviously, the ladies don't understand at the end that, that the only way they could have possibly done anything if he went after the Rattler, he would have been out of fuel and crashed in Cobra territory, and likewise Wild Weasel. So I think it's really appropriate, considering the way that the story unfolded with all this action, that it ended in a tie, and it's sort of like, it's one of those that you hope somewhere down the line there's a sort of sequel to this, to see if we have a definitive winner. But in this one, I think it ended appropriately. Again, Kenny is right. I mean, there's like battles over cities and things like that, but they do sort of say, well, we can't fire our missiles down here because that's a neighbor, taxpayers are down there, So they sort of give some credence to it. But really, what is he supposed to do? I mean, he's being attacked, so he's trying his best to sort of steer him out of the way. But again, it's not, is it the best, most coherent story? Is it like, it's totally groundbreaking? No, it's a dogfight. It's made to be action packed, and that's what it is, and it's effectively done in that realm. It's not high prose, but it's very well done. 3.5.
Perfect. All right, how do we get this back? Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, so yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, all kinds of, like, G.I. Joe does crazy stuff in their crazy comics. They have no problem firing an A1 Abrams tank in the middle of Central Park, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like wherever G.I. Joe is, wherever Cobra is, don't worry, G.I. Joe doesn't miss. There's no bystander casualties.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make it out.
I was just waiting for, like, I thought there was a reason for, because right on the first page, they like, both of the girls are wondering what this is about. Like, it's almost, because she says, I'm not due for requalification yet, like requalification of getting like flight hours. Mind telling me the real reason for this flight? And he's like, the boys just updated the tech. Don't worry about it. Like, so I guess they just want to like flex and show off their stuff. And Baron she said the same thing. I'm no stranger to rattlers, Weasel. Why do I need to check this out again? So far, everything looks the same to me. And he's like, don't worry about it, babe. Like, I wish they were both on a mission of some kind. Like, it seemed them tricking the girls into the flight is reckless, and it just seems like I don't know. I didn't get like a patriotic vibe, and then all the city shenanigans. I just wish it was more mission based. I would have bought into it more.
See, if you are trying to pick up a girl and you own a Ferrari, you're taking her for a ride in your Ferrari. That's what these guys are doing. They're backing on these girls.
Yeah. If I was on a base with the Baroness, dude.
Yeah, have you seen Baroness? I'd buy plane just to fly her around.
Stuff too, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Ace is like, well, Scarlet's taken up, but maybe a little Lady J action would be all right.
You guys always looking for ulterior motives.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he needed co-pilots. That's it. They just happened to be there. They needed co-pilots.
It was fun. How do you feel about it, chat? Did you think the story held water, or do you think it was kind of way too far-fetched even for a G.I. Joe book? Did you like the action, or did you think the whole thing just kind of stunk? Please give us your grades now in the chat, and we'll add those up, and we'll take a meme of what everybody's average is. So please vote now.
Yeah, so when I was in the Army, I dealt with all rotary wing. I didn't really do with any fixed wing, so
helicopters.
So we didn't do too much like terminology like that. But I mean, I'm sure it is if you get there talking to pilots. I mean, they didn't use too. They didn't go overboard with the terminology. They made a couple of allusions with some, some letters out there. It's like, what do you say, ECM or whatever like that. So I mean, you get used to seeing all that kind of thing, but. They just talk a little bit about radar, but not very much, and did some trickery about flying low, but it really wasn't too overly technical. But it was a nice little addition for them to adding those little things in there.
G.I. Joe totally, that was their bag. They always had those little things right at the bottom. I mean, I learned a lot of military terms from what Larry Hamill would write there.
Yeah, kind of one of the things. Yeah, Hama educated you. He did. Yeah.
Yeah, man, and like he created G.I. Joe, even the toys. You'll watch any interview with him, and he'll tell you that like he invented Cobra and Cobra Commander. Like Hasbro was like, oh, really, we should have an enemy? And like he was like, yeah, do this Cobra guys and do this and do this.
Yep.
Sometimes, and as much as Marvel was publishing this book, Hasbro was in charge of this book, right? So if they're like, oh, we got these 10 figures coming out next month in our toy line, put them all in your comic book. He had to do that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's why you had some of those. Sometimes you had like the radio guy would be featured on a cover. What's his name? Dial Tone?
Breaker,
right. And then they're like, okay, and he's behind enemy lines and they got to rescue him. Just could have been any Joe, but they put the guy who's coming out, you know.
of course. Does it seem like the chats are in? Not too many guys. We always lose a few by this point.
Also, we got, I think Comic Gories is on at 9, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. We've lost a few to categories.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna happen.
We need
Yeah.
you for that important pick later. I have 2 books that I'm going to present to you in the chat
Yep.
for next week. So stick around.
We're almost in the wrap-up stage here, so hang
Pretty
tight.
cool. It's pretty cool that you got a comic book teaching, like military acronyms. It's nice. You start seeing those in your
Yeah.
sleep after a while, right?
Yep.
So they really went all out with that comic book. There was a lot riding on it, and a lot like they, with a lot backing it as well, right? Like the cartoon was a big hit. The toys were selling like hotcakes at that point.
I had several
Yeah.
around this time.
Yeah, I had several. Everybody had several.
I was a little too old, I'm afraid, but my nephew.
Did y'all? I don't know if y'all saw. I did a live stream a while back. Here, visual aid incoming. And I had this done while I was on there.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, I was
yeah.
there. Yeah, I was there when you
There's
did
one,
it.
yeah.
Iron Blood.
That was Jared, the yard sale artist. Did
The art
that.
style artist. Yep.
Did that about an
Nice.
hour time. That was a fun one. It's actually on the Army manual page too. Let's see. So we got another one there. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like it's going to be a 3. Last chance saloon for your grades. If not, forever hold your peace.
Russ left early, but he put a 3.5.
That's right. I forgot to put that in there. I saw that earlier.
Russ went to the categories.
No, he said he had to go to bed.
Yes, strange sleep schedule. So
I'm
Oh, yeah.
surprised he's going at a regular time.
must ran out of coffee. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Does he work nights?
No, he doesn't work. But
He just sleeps at any given time, man.
Yeah, he has
And he stays
very
awake for like
strange sleep patterns.
a day and a half. He'll stay up straight, and I can't do
Not a
it
good
anymore. I'm
idea.
old. Hey, we got another grade came in. All right,
Yeah, 4.
Got a foe.
Hey,
finally a
what-
worthy one.
what do you-
I just thought it was really cool, man. Just
So
really
what was
cool.
what was the check grade then?
Well, if we count that 4, we have.
Yeah, they got to earn my suspension of disbelief. I don't just drop it at the drop of the hat. I didn't buy it. They didn't make me suspend my disbelief enough.
Kenny, you sound like you might have taken the girl out and ran out of gas a few times. You sound a little guilty on this.
I'm telling you the truth when I say that they fired in one issue. They had a big battle with Cobra right in the middle of Central Park and shot the Abrams tank and everything. Oh man!
They got no chill. There's no collateral damage in the comics and in the cartoons. Right?
Yeah,
They get
Yeah.
unlimited tax
nobody
dollars.
died in the animated series, as far as I can remember. Bombs going off
Yeah.
everywhere. Nobody,
Did someone die in the
One thing,
movie?
that's it.
I thought someone
Yeah,
might have
I
died
know
in
the
the
cartoons
movie.
was always laser blasts that
Yeah.
were always missing.
Always miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Sergeant Slaughter. Chat came. Grade came in at a 3, by the way.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, the only time the laser blast hit anything if it was a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they-
Right.
You can destroy those all day long.
Right.
Yeah.
Asimov's laws be damned, but
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move along to the concept of this book, and I'll start off or talk this. So, I love the concept of this book, like a dogfight. That's really cool in my opinion, and it does harken back to a lot of Golden Age comics that were very much into that, like dogfighting. Mano a mano, pilot versus pilot. Lone wolves in the sky fighting one another, and this is cool. Like the radio signals get busted out, and like they're alone and they're dogfighting, and like just to have it come on, out of the blue, and then the way like, and have this huge dogfight, but nobody win, and then have the way it ends, right? Like, so from start to finish, the concept of this book is great. Like having a huge dogfight, good, and then the way they laid it all out, and the way that they conceptualized it, good. Right, like they could have done this a million different ways, and I think the way that they picked was a really, really effective one. So, concept of this book, I got to give it a 5. I love books like this. I love war books. I love airplane battles. So, me, like we always got to you always put a little bit of our own bias into our grades. But for me, this was a fantastic GI Joe book, and I gave it a 5.
Wow.
Huh. How's that? You don't get 5 on a concept grade all that often.
No.
Well done.
Like I said, it could have been tweaked and executed in a few places better, but yeah, the concept of this book, fantastic. All right, you, sir, are going to be up next.
All right.
Always do that.
We probably don't have to like single us out on the concept grade, so you don't want to.
Yeah, you can leave me small. It doesn't matter. So, concept of this book, man, I don't know if Dave and I have ever agreed so much on a book. Well, I don't know. I think we did last week too, actually, pretty closely. But yeah, man, I'm with Dave on this one. This is an excellent concept, and this wasn't just a gimmick concept. This whole book was the dogfight. You had like 2 pages of setup on the front end, and then it was on, and they just beat the Hades out of each other for the entire book. And there was, it was kind of a cool thing, and I don't know if this was a subtle message by Larry, but there was no hatred between the two either, right? They were testing each other and they were trying to better each other. They were mortal enemies, but at the end they can kind of come together and shut off their differences and show respect for one another, right? So kind of a cool thing, but just a great concept. Once again, they did not bog it down. They didn't even bother with air traffic controllers or radio people coming in. It was 4 characters in this book. I loved it. Super simple. Keep it focused on them. Lots of good back and forth dialogue. They explained what they're doing, and what they were doing was making sense. Really cool moments of peril, like when Ace got his helmet shattered. He couldn't see anything. He couldn't get his helmet off. And so the inexperienced flyer, Lady A, had to, or less experienced, should I say, had to take over the flying duties on a different kind of plane that she's used to flying, right? So just cool little moments like that. And then you got, of course, it's Cobra firing the Vulcan right into the friggin' the road there with, pedestrians and stuff all around. It's a Cobra thing. What do they care, right? But just such a cool concept, man. I love the whole idea of the machinery doing the fighting a lot, and then having the avatars, or the machine being the avatar for the pilots themselves, is a nice little touch. It was a fun book, fun idea, and a cool one. Like I said, I think a lot of times, like a big fight issue like this, and this is a big complaint of mine with versus books, right? Is usually it's like 3 pages of fight, and the rest of it you're reading bad dialogue or setups in this. This one wastes no time. It gets to it, and it's a very satisfying fight. You might have to spend a little bit of disbelief about the amount of damage these planes take, but this is once again 2 sides that are trying to basically destroy each other with better and better tech. So it does stand to reason they be built to last and they be strong. The only thing you can really kind of get on them about, Rattler's obviously an A-10. It's a ground support unit kind of plane, so subsonic speeds all the time. It's not going to be up there doing dogfighting with a Tomcat or nothing like that. But yeah, just a fun one. If you can get past that little thing, and we're talking about a G.I. Joe comic, for goodness sake, it was just great. I love the whole idea of like the honorable warriors dueling it out in the skies, and then at the very end kind of realizing that once again they're both the same. They're both warriors, and regardless if they hate each other or not, they can still give each other the respect that they have obviously just earned while destroying untold millions of dollars in property and Cobra and G.I. Joe property, not to mention civilian stuff. So great book. I gave it a 4.5. So close to a 5. Just a couple little things were niggling at me there, but yeah, good stuff, man. 4.5.
Right. Yeah, we are getting pretty close on this one. Let's roll along to Metarog. How did you feel about the concept of this book?
Well, I generally agree with what you guys are saying. I'm going to add a few little things that I think might have come into play here. This seems to me like it's a fill-in issue or a transition issue, because that I recall, it was pretty serialized around this time, either right before or right after. So I like the fact that they had these kinds of stories every once in a while in G.I. Joe, because although I like, long story arcs and et cetera, every once in a while, and I think Genome hit it on the nose when he said this book is a lot of fun, and we can't sort of overestimate that, because when you're in a hobby, and it is a hobby, really you want the fun factor to be there. If you're not having fun in a hobby, probably shouldn't be doing it, right? And if you're not having fun, reading comics, then why are you collecting them, right? That's my perspective, unless you're an investor or something. And this comic has off the charts fun factor, right? At this point, I was in my late teens, I think. Probably 20 or so. And I still read the comic because it was fun. It was just a light-hearted, escapism entertainment. And it's not meant to be some kind of deep socio-political statement like Starlin did and things like that. No, this was supposed to be, something that would attract younger readers, while younger and, readers and young adults, right? And also, it wanted to, the secondary thing, which I think Dave mentioned, Miracle, is that Hasbro had input into this, right? So it did have a marketing aspect, which Genome usually talks about, but didn't today because he was, just fascinated by the story elements. So I sort of look at it from that perspective. The story, I think, was so just brilliantly, the way it cohesed into the young adult mentality of, hey, not only are we telling a story here which is going to excite the clientele, it's going to make them want that Rattler and that Sky Striker because they're cool. I mean, you can see the guys swishing them and doing the same maneuvers and using your own special effects. I can sort of see that. When this comic was created, that was an aspect of it, but it is a lot of fun. I really like the fact that you have a very truncated cast, so that the dialogue, it comes out more natural and explanatory because of the co-pilots. There's a lot to like here, but I think overall it is more geared to a young adult, although it does have really a lot of techno jargon and a pretty cohesive story, but it is a dogfight, and it's a fun dogfight. But I can't say, wow, I've never seen anything like this. This blows my mind like a 5. No. But is it effective at what it does? Absolutely. Does it have a target audience? Absolutely. Is there an ulterior motive? Absolutely. Okay, taking all that mushed together, pressed, what comes out the bottom? A 4.
Nice kind of a Play-Doh analogy there. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like that analogy. That was good. Okay, so we've gone through everyone except for Comichead. You done it?
Yeah.
Right. All right, sir. How did you feel? I know you didn't like the story, but how did you feel about the concept of this book?
Yeah, the concept. So, when I'm grading something like the story and the writing, I'm gonna take that kind of stuff to task. I try to treat all comic books on the same level, but in the concept, I'm not going to hold those particulars of character motivations. I feel like that kind of stuff doesn't apply to the concept. The concept is the bird's eye view approach for the book. And in that department, I think this book delivers very well. For a G.I. Joe comic, and I'm not much of a G.I. Joe reader, I haven't read many comics of G.I. Joe, but I would think this is kind of what you'd want to see. It's a small, encapsulated story, a battle, airplane, dogfight, battle. That makes for a great issue. I think it's a compact, fun book, easy to pick up, jump into it, have a good time, and that's a wrap, you know. So I like the simplicity and the action-packed nature of the book, because I feel like that's what G.I. Joe should be. So this was a good move for that. I'm also, frankly, I'm a fan of the overall idea of using comics to sell toys. Like, I don't really think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you're putting out a decent product in the comic book. I think that's fine. I think that's cool, because you could look at it from the cynical point of view and saying, "Oh, look, you're just trying to milk every dollar out of these kids, and you sell them a toy. You want to sell them a comic too. What else? You want to sell them a T-shirt? What else you want to sell them? You want to make them watch a cartoon?" And that is a cynical perspective, but the kid's perspective is when you latch on to a property that you like I loved Batman animated series, Ninja Turtles growing up. I love the fact that I could enjoy my cartoon on the Saturday morning, and then I could go to the store and I could pick up a toy, and I would have hours of fun playing with the figures at home, and I have a comic and I could grab that too and read that, and I could get my T-shirt. Fandom and digging into something as a kid is great. It's awesome. Is the man making money off it? Yes. But you know what? If you find something, there's not many things like that as a kid that it's great to just dive into something. Like I used to watch pro wrestling, buy the figures, get the magazines. So I like that you're broadening, as long as it's fairly quality, which it seems like this is. I think that's great. If they had plane figures, I imagine like they had toys of these planes for sale. Good on them, because this is a fantastic commercial for those planes. I could totally see if I was a G.I. Joe fanatic as a kid and I saw that plane after enjoying this issue. Hell yeah, game on, I want it. So fair play, good on them on the overall, merchandising aspect of it. Fair play, fun, self-compacted issue. I'm not going to worry about the nuances of the particulars of the story and stuff here. I just think it's a good dueling battle. So overall, I'm going to give it a 4. I think 4 on the concept. Good overall issue.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well said.
All right. So, yeah, no, that, like you said, the concept of a book doesn't always play out the way they told the story of the book.
Yeah.
Maybe, like sometimes it's like, oh, really good idea, really not well done, guys. You know what I mean? Like, you could, but if only, right? Anyway, so our last creator to come up on the concept of the book is the chat. So chat, how did you guys feel about the concept of this book? Was it a stinker? Did you think, why did they even bother with this issue? Or do you think, man, this should have been every G.I. Joe issue? All right, so please give us your chat grade, and we'll add them up in the end there.
I like Chad Cave's comment in there. He's like,
what does he got?
He may or may not have just purchased a Cap 286. And isn't that the life of a YouTube comic book viewer?
Yes.
You know how many books you guys in this community have got me to say, oh, that does look cool. Let me. So, I hear you, Chad. I know, man.
Wish I could have found my copy. It's laying around here somewhere, but I didn't want to be digging around for it while y'all were talking. So.
Yeah, I
Love
got
that
that
cover.
in the next room here. I actually read it a couple months ago. Yeah,
I haven't read it in ages.
Oh, it's a good story too. I mean, because if you follow Deathlock, kind of left you hanging in the previous storyline, so that kind of wraps it up a bit.
You're right. I didn't really mention the marketing tie-ins. I will say this though. Good ideas, but like Transformers and G.I. Joe did not need help from Marvel Comics at the time for promotion other than writing stories. I think that was the main reason Hasbro went with the comics, to be honest with you. And because like Bob Budiansky wrote all the history of the Transformers. Larry Hama basically wrote all the history for the G.I. Joe characters. So basically they were paying them to create the characters, backstory for them basically, and let them have the IP.
I know, and I guarantee you, Larry Hama didn't see much of that $1 billion in toy sales or whatever
Probably
it
not.
was.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. Hopefully he's getting residuals for it, but
Good luck.
it wasn't easy back then.
Yeah, back then it was pretty draconian. The one way, the way that those deals went.
But that's actually his normal business, though. I mean, if you create an IP working for a company, it's their IP, regardless of who came up with it. So, I mean, it's not totally untoward, but it was super predatory with comics back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing is when something is so successful, like you're making $20 an hour, and this is making millions.
Yeah.
Somehow does not seem fair. You just throw a bone back to the guy,
With all the movies and everything too, right?
Oh, it was so huge for like a span of like 3, maybe 5 years between G.I. Joe and Transformers. Man, it was nothing but TV shows. You find the toys in grocery stores. They had it everywhere. It was everywhere. So saturated.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
and Kenny, they're not trying to bilk the kids. They're trying to bilk the parents.
The parents, yeah.
Right? Yeah, because I didn't pay for my toys. I said, Mom and Dad, I want this.
Hell yeah.
So it's fair play. It's fair. Absolutely fair. And it's a dog eat dog. If it's not G.I. Joe and Hasbro, Mattel's going to get you, or somebody
between
else.
He-Man or on that side over there.
Or He-Man, or Remco. So yeah, absolutely. I understand that completely. I'm just saying you can't sort of read this without knowing that, hey, kids are going to see this and say, I want that.
Yeah.
You can expect a lot more G.I. Joe in the next comic bit, man, because Hasbro started their own studio. Right? And yeah, and they're already.
Simeon says.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh man.
But yeah, Hasbro started their own studio.
Touche,
He's McCarthying us.
I retract my previous statement. I'm talking about Quantum Marriott, not socialism. Okay.
So they pulled the IP from IDW, right?
Yes.
And they're setting up their own shop.
Yeah. So, but like
they need to.
They're so smart about it. Like rather than doing their own streaming service, they're gonna put out their own properties and then sell them to things like Disney and Netflix and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already sold the Lady J, so they're already doing a streaming show with Lady J.
Yeah, I noticed the Hasbro YouTube channel is like they stream G.I. Joe like all the time.
Yeah.
They're like pushing content. It shows up like in my recommendeds a lot, the Hasbro YouTube channel, and they're just playing all G.I. Joe episodes.
It's gonna be big, man. They're gonna go back crazy with it. They spent $4 billion on this, so they're gonna want to get their money back.
Oh wow.
So you start looking at properties like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Mask, Visionaries, Gem and the Holograms, like
Gem and the Holograms.
Truly outrageous. Truly outrageous.
Oh man.
I included one of their clips in the video.
I can see G.I. Joe making like a resurgence.
Make it animated though, no live action crap. Animated only. We saw what they did with the movies. Well, I didn't actually see it, but
I don't know. I have pretty high hopes for the next G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, yeah. Snake Eyes is a cool character.
But I mean, it's a ninja movie, right? Like,
yeah. But G.I. Joe falls in the same trap that like Wolverine and all that does. He's like, you just want to see Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Storm Shadow and Snake. That's all you ever see in the movies. Like, I don't want to see that all the time. There's lots of other characters.
I want Roadblock, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Major Blood, Big Boa, the freaking boxing Cobra, man. I want to see those guys.
Yeah, who's the Navy guy with the parrot on his shoulder? Let's get in.
That's Chipwreck.
Yeah, Chipwreck.
look like one of the Village People. Yeah, I remember.
That's the New Age Popeye.
Yeah,
pretty funny. Shipwreck. All right, so I guess we have enough.
Let's say it's gonna be a 3. I don't
My favorite was Rock and Roll, the guy with the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can just call it a 3.
I think it's a 3.
No abacus needed.
I think you guys need to read this book and don't just listen to us. It's worthy of higher than a 3.
Yeah, they have their own opinion. You figure that.
You're allowed to have your own opinions,
even if it's wrong.
Okay.
Mag Musings. Oh man.
Just go to your comrade friends and have them walk it over, since there's no fuel or vehicles in a communist country. So.
Home run.
Oh man. Oh man.
Okay.
I'm an Adam Smith guy myself. Okay.
Oh well, big time. Father Economics and Invisible Hand is all it's about, baby. Look it up sometime if you don't know. we're talking about.
So
Yep.
funny.
Hey, you guys, we're doing a show here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
We're going to start talking about national deficit before too much longer, so let's get going.
I know. Let's move along here. So yeah, our final one is our overall. We just kind of go through this one quick. So I'm going to go around in a circle. Let's go backwards this time. Kenny, how did you feel about your overall one?
Yeah, overall, I thought that the cover was slightly above average. I had some problems with it, but overall, Zek did a pretty cool job. Cool concept on the cover. The writing, I thought, on the micro sense, he built tension. It was pretty cool. But as soon as I thought about it in any kind of macro sense, I thought the motivations could have been set up better and stuff like that. So I went middle of the road, serviceable in that regard. Art I thought was cool. Planes drawn well, cool battles. But the guy bit off a little more than he can chew with the panels. He wanted to be a little more fancy with the panels than he should have, and I think the book suffered a little bit for it. 3.5 was that one. In the concept, I thought was great. Compact, fun. Planes looked cool. Just a good old time. I think overall, I'm going to give this book, as a whole, a 3.5.
A little dramatic.
I know. You started talking macro and micro too. Our economic talk is really taking a hold over there.
That's right. I'm the new economics and comics.
No voodoo economics on this channel.
Voodoo economics.
Not this voodoo stuff. Anyway, continuing around in our rotation, Mr. Metarog, how did you feel about the overall of this book?
First of all, great pick, I think, because it's very different than what maybe most of us expected, right? When you think of G.I. Joe, you have like this preconceived notion that it's dumbed down, and I don't think this was at all. That's why the cover was so vital, I think, to this book in a sense, because it really set the stage for it. I mean, when you're a kid, you saw that cover and it delivered because it had action, it has impact, and it got the job done. So I put that as a 4. The story, it's not like the highest level story. It is what it is. It's a dogfight with 2 pilots and 2 co-pilots that are less experienced, but that dynamic worked because that's how the story got told. And Kenny has the problem with the macro. I get that, but remember, this was a G.I. Joe story here. If we really want to drill down into it, like if it was the Shadow or Sandman, it would fail. But for what it's supposed to do, it was effective. 3.5. Art, likewise. Again, the claustrophobic panels and weird. It was just a little distracting, and that flexographic coloring was just, again, I'm talking from the digital, so maybe in hand it's a little bit better. But to me, it was just way too oversaturated and others undersaturated. So it was a little distracting, but I get it because you want, kids will like those vibrant colors, right? So there's kind of an homage there, or not an homage, but a sort of a emphasis there for the younger audience. But overall, great planes, great action, great explosions, very effective art. 3.5. Concept, we just went through it. I'm not going to rehash all that. Well done. Again, the story, the way that it unfolded with 4 characters, 1 shot, very, very fun. And that's something we cannot overemphasize. It was meant to just sort of draw you in, 1 shot. Hey, I like it. I want to get the next one. I want to get that Rattler. I want to get that Sky Striper. I want to be involved in this universe. Very effective in that sense, and especially for the target audience. 3.5. So, obviously almost all of mine were 3.5. So I, like Kenny, landed on 3.5.
Nice. That's all sound reasoning in what you said today. David?
Just today.
Just today. Normally, but today you had it. David, please, how did you feel about the overall of this book, sir?
Well, I went slightly higher on this book than my contemporaries, but let's just go ahead and let the math do the speaking today. For the cover, Cover is really fun. It's a stylized cover, which is cool, and that freaking Rattler in the background, A10, is just absolutely incredible. Liked it much better than the foreground, but whatever the case may be, it's a fun action shot. It's kind of a weird, like, angle and everything, and a cool scenario. So I liked it a lot. I gave it a 4. For story, I went with a 4 as well. I thought it got the job done. It was a great showing of two diametrically opposed, but very, very, very similar characters. Basically, this whole thing was a mirror. The book was a mirror. It was half a Cobra book and half a G.I. Joe book, and I liked that. It didn't make the bad guy a mustache twirling bad guy. He was up there doing his job, right? And same with Ace over there. So a lot more shades of gray than you would normally see in a G.I. Joe book. So gave that a 4 as well. Fun story. Art, gave it a 4 as well. I love the interior art. I love the whole rule of 180 they stuck to throughout this book. They even made Ace right-handed, and they even made Wild Weasel left-handed in the panels if you look at it. So everything was completely diametrically opposed. I loved it. Fun, good art, great. This is some of the best like machinery work I've ever seen, because there was no panels where the wings were bent or things that didn't just look wonky. It all looked really solid. So I gave that a 4 as well. And for the concept, I gave it a 4.5. Brilliant concept. Self-contained book. Great dogfight. It was a dogfight that isn't this point because it lasted basically the entire issue. Had a satisfying ending that actually made some sense. A little bit hokey and contrived, but whatever. I thought it was fun. And like you said, good marketing tie-in there too with the, all right, kids, go buy these indestructible planes and you won't be able to break them either. It won't make your parents angry. So I gave the concept the highest score. I gave it a 4.5. And overall, this book came in as a 4. This is a very pleasant surprise for more of what was considered more of a children's book. I remember in some of the other G.I. Joe comics, they would draw blood and stuff too. So it was a little more adult oriented than the TV show was for sure. But great book and a very, very pleasant surprise. Very happy to have read it.
Nice.
Very nice.
For me, overall, I was very happy to read this book too. I remember buying it off the shelf because I was a big G.I. Joe fan when I was buying comic books back then. But I don't think I've read it since. So having a refresh on this and bringing it all back was like, oh yeah, I remember what a great issue this was. And I literally got it picked because I was just digging through the dollar bin and I found a copy of G.I. Joe. It's like my copy is a reader copy. It's ratched. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to read this. And actually, when I brought it up to the counter, the guy I buy comics from all the time was like, are you sure you want this? It's pretty beat up. And I was like, I just want to read it. He's like, man, I don't hear that very often, right? Like, so I was very happy to reread it. When I do my overall, the thing I always ask myself is, would I recommend this issue to a friend? And definitely, yes. Definitely, I thought it was well written. I thought the whole thing was really well done. You know, little nicks here and there and whatever. But if you think about the comic that it's in, I think they did a really well job. I think Larry Hannah, excellent writing, excellent concept and all of this. So I landed on a 4.5 for this book.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Good score. Good score.
Yikes.
And of course, it's obvious that I'm a G.I. Joe fan, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll save the joke for another time. But yeah, good stuff, man. That was a very pleasant surprise. Very pleasant surprise. Very cool.
Yeah,
and I like it. I like it because it was just a single one and done book too. There was no overlying branching tie-in stories you had to worry about. So this would be a great book to introduce someone to the series as well.
I found that too with like some of the books we picked, and it's part of like a kind of an ongoing storyline. And you're either a little lost because we started too early, or it just doesn't end where you feel like it should end. And you're like, oh, now I got to read a bunch more books, but I don't even have these books, so I got to go out and get these books. And like, so, but G.I. Joe had a lot of those one-offs where they would just do one, and then they had other issues that were the whole underlying, you know, story arc of all the characters together. But,
what was the chat score, Gino?
3 overall.
3 overall.
Yep.
3 overall.
All right.
So despite some protestations earlier, it got above the serviceable letter. So
Nice.
This book reads much better in person than you'll see here in digital. I'm saying just give it a read the whole thing through, and then reconsider your score.
Well worth picking up if you find it.
Yeah. Don't spend like I did, but you can find this book for $5.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, but but you can definitely like digging through the bins and hey, G.I. 34, I'm gonna give it a read. It's well worth a read.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go around again. And Kenny, do you have anything coming up on your channel, sir? Anything you'd like to announce?
Well, what I have to announce is my potential 2 picks for the next edition of Graders Note.
Or that we could do that too.
Yeah, well, you started out. Yeah, I'm glad you guys it to me.
Great seamless transition.
It really
there.
was.
That's fabulous.
I present you 2 choices, 2 different books, 2 different publishers, and you will let me know.
Where do you see one of these books?
Is there a way to full screen this, Miracle, so they can get the full majesty of these books?
Prepare yourself, Biggie. I hope you're sitting down.
Yeah.
Yes, buckle up. Your first choice. We're going to transport you back to the mid-1990s with this put your sunglasses on to deal with the foil shininess of X-Men Alpha #1, the extreme everything era of comics, Age of Apocalypse, all of our classic characters flipped on their head, gimmicks galore, Mark Waid dialogue, Scott Lobdell, I think we're on writing duties.
Oh man.
And Jabronis, I don't even know who drew it, but
Look at that torso. Oh my.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's one of your choices. You feel like going down the 90s memory lane. And the other one is maybe a little more of an oddball pick. We're talking DC Comics Presents, issue number 84, by the way. Superman, they teamed up Superman with a different character every issue. Superman in Challenges of the Unknown. And you can tell by that cover, this is Jack Kirby Superman, baby. Didn't see too much of that in his career, but here you go. It's like he splits the artist duties with Alex Toth. I'd say it's like 2/3 Kirby, 1/3 Toth, and you get a Challenges of the Unknown Superman team up in this. So there's your Kirby Superman. So those are your choices: X-Men Alpha 1 or DC Comics Presents 84.
Tough pick.
Yeah, I think they'll both be fun.
We're letting the chat vote on that if anybody's got an opinion.
I'm gonna start putting my scores in already from what I've seen. So give me a second.
You got the king, the classic legend, and then you have not, so it depends on how you want to go about it.
Oh, well, Kirby, Biggie with the surprising pick. He said X-Men because he's afraid of us bashing Kirby.
Aw.
Say what you will about Kirby, but at least when his work is done, it looks done. Like, I don't know. There's no like little freaking cross hatching here and there. He doesn't even own one. He does all his original Sharpie. So
yeah, this is a pro Kirby show, man, all day.
I guess it looks like Kirby DC Comics Present looks like it's going to take it here.
I knew Gray Man because Gray Man almost has this whole run, if not the whole run of DC Comics.
He wants to see it. Kirby's version of Jimmy Olsen is what he wants to see, though. Gray Man might be the biggest collector of Jimmy Olsen in the freaking community. He's got to be. He has to have more Jimmy Olsen books than anybody else on YouTube.
It looks like I'm going to call it here. It's going to be the DC Comics Presents issue.
Sorry, X-Men.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fire this one up.
D-Runk has been telling me, get that X-Men Alpha on the show. I tried, D.
He doesn't show up for the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, he's probably over there in Comigories,
Yeah, maybe Alpha will make his way on another episode. All right, cool. So that's fun. And if, for people that don't have it, it's a super cheap issue. I scanned eBay before the show, and like all day long, $4 or $5, maybe 10 for a nice condition. So pretty
Looking for
affordable,
reader copy right now. Hold
readily
on. Okay.
available issue.
Nice. All right. So, do you have anything coming up on your channel, though, bud?
What's coming up on the channel?
That's what we're asking you, Kenny. That's
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It wasn't a rhetorical question.
I think we're due for a power hour soon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
Haven't
Friday.
seen one.
We'll see. Keep your eyes peeled for a power hour. Maybe, what do you say, Big? Maybe tomorrow night we fire a power hour. Because I got a package that I received from my man Collectible Paper. So maybe I share that or something. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And maybe this weekend or something, I really do want to do a video and chat about that Falcon Winter Soldier Disney Plus show.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm really digging it. I think that show is doing like really high level stuff, and I don't feel like the show is getting as much buzz and credit as the WandaVision Mania, because there's not a bunch of potential secret spec characters and theory crafting. It's just solid storytelling, character development, and more sophisticated themes than you may expect at surface level. So I think I might fire up a stream sometime soon.
Don't talk too soon about that one. I think there's going to be a lot more spec coming up here. They've been talking about some crazy stuff.
Yeah, perhaps. There's a rumor mill for sure.
Like, as far as I could see, all of the guys that were rumored to be in the show have shown up in the first 2 episodes. So there's still 4 more episodes of like stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I think there's potential, but wasn't it for the WandaVision? It was like only thing people would talk about the show is the spec aspect. Like,
yeah,
it was just overrun with this freaking Mephisto mania. It's like, dude.
I think it was. Yeah,
The writers don't know who Mephisto is. They even admitted it. So I don't know why people are thinking he's going to suddenly appear. The own writer of the show had no idea who Mephisto was.
Yeah.
So
guys, I can tell you this: Disney is not going to put the devil in any of their movies.
No.
You haven't been following Disney in a while, have you?
They're not gonna put them as such, but
yeah,
I think they put some pretty mean characters in there.
Yeah, I think it's potential for Mephisto. We'll see. I think they'd handle it.
And if he comes in, he won't be like in the comics. He'll be,
Yeah, just don't get Al Pacino to do it. Oh.
3-piece suit, kind of, underhanded guy.
3-piece suit, that'd be funny.
I've been saying since the beginning, no Mephisto. So we'll see if I'm right.
Yeah,
I've been wrong, but so far I'm right.
I never doubt respect.
Metarog, what have you got, sir?
Well, I just dropped another roundup today, and if you're a loyal viewer of the roundup, you'll notice that there is an embedded giveaway in today's.
A Ninja Turtle giveaway. I watched
a Ninja Turtle giveaway. That's the base prize, and then you're going to get some personalized from my personalized Metarog giveaway box.
Wow!
Whoever the winner is, So that's dropped today. Go check that out if you're interested in that. And I don't think I have anything else until next Thursday, where I'm going to do one of my, info, like Kenny says, infotainment videos.
Yep.
I like that. But I don't know what it's going to be yet. So it may be, I may be reviewing the Metal Men miniseries, or I may be showing you my Marvel Universe cards, or I may do a song and dance. You never know.
Marvel Universe cards. Oh man.
I'll go for the latter. The song and dance.
You want to see something totally 80s? Hold on.
What do you got?
What lies within this Trapper Keeper right here? Well, Marvel Universe Series 1 right here.
There we go.
Holograms right there in the front.
Right.
In my Trapper Keeper from middle school. So awesome
go.
stuff.
Nice.
That's gonna be another video probably one of these days.
I think there was like a 70s series that came out, but they were all stickers, right?
There are 2 series of stickers, actually. I have those as well.
Of course you do. I have an asset of the 90s X-Men cards that are like super mint, but that's it. I'm not buying cards. I've got a few cards, but I think
These were like dirt. You couldn't give these away in the 80s, by the way.
Yeah, man. You can find like stacks of marble cards at flea markets all over the place.
You got it. I bought a whole box of them for $5 in the 80s.
Exactly. Right. I bought that, or my friend got me that whole set. He said he paid $5 for it at the flea market. Anyway, that's besides the point. Genome, tell us all the things that are coming up on your channel. I know you got stuff coming up on your channel.
Well, you know me. There's always something going on. Oh, by the way, Peter Parker Comics, welcome to the show. Glad to see you popped in there. Couple things coming up. Oh, yeah, what's funny, you mentioned Turtles over there, Metarog. It kind of ties in with this G.I. Joe. Between G.I. Joe and Transformers, when those properties started to flag, toys were taking a big hit for several years until the Turtles came around. And that revitalized the action figure market again. Kind of a fascinating little aside there. But what's going on? I got my review coming up for Child's Play 3. Should be next week sometime. What else do I got going on? I have a mystery box or mystery pack open here. Jackson Roykirk sent me yet another little surprise there. So I'll open that maybe tomorrow and record it so I can actually upload something there. Friday night hangouts tomorrow night, of course, with my imitable friend Jay. What else we got going on? I don't know. And Bill's in the chat. If I can be able to do the next Clint Eastwood movie this Saturday, I have to install 4 ceiling fans in my house Saturday. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but we'll see. If I do get to do it, I'll have to announce it. But we haven't even picked a movie yet, so I wouldn't count on that. Lots of stuff on the Marvel Strike Force gaming channel on Genome Gaming. Try to put out another video for that tomorrow too, as well. So lots of little things coming in and out there. So should be good times coming up on the channel.
How's your gaming channel going?
It's got over 100 subs. I get subs over there way faster than I get in this on my main channel here.
100 subs already.
Yeah, and my videos get way better traction over there, and they're easy to do. I should just stick to that channel.
Jackson Roykirk wants to know if it's still ticking, Genome.
Oh yeah, well apparently, actually it started meowing a few minutes ago. Started meowing, and I don't know. I was a little worried about it, but I don't know what's in there. But I'm very excited.
You might want to dunk it in the water first.
Call my old EOD friends. There's an acronym for you. So.
There you go.
But yeah, so good times, lots of stuff going on. Yeah, the video game channel is so much easier and it gets so much better stuff. And I don't even push it that hard. If I push it harder, I guarantee it'd grow even faster. So
yeah, I mean, I was reading just the other day, 5 out of the top 10 grossing YouTube channels are gaming channels.
Yep.
Right?
Playing Minecraft and crap like that, So this one at least is a Marvel game.
I bet you get over 20,000 subs.
If I could figure out how to get my Nintendo Switch to stream onto YouTube, I would have a blast playing this. I play this Marvel game like all the time. This Ultimate Alliance. I feel like it'd be a fun one to watch too, but it's not that easy to stream. I gotta like do all kind of shenanigans. I don't know.
Yeah.
My 2600 is ready to go.
Yeah, that's streaming capable too.
I'm waiting for a capture card that will work on the 2600. I'm ready to go.
Man, you may see a fan installation video how to, but I don't know. I'll be crawling around in the attic and pulling Romex wire and wiring stuff. I don't have time with camera angles. I got 4 of them to do, so hopefully I can get them all done.
Concentrate on just getting it done, not on filming it.
Yes. All right. So finally, me. Okay, so that's what I ended up with today.
Whoa.
Man, you're still drawing.
Bro, the rabid weasel. I like it.
I did a little more. Did a little more modern take of him.
Man, you did that all tonight,
dude. That's the best one yet. Straight
Jeez.
up. So? Wow.
Look at that! Look at that Sky Striker on the visor.
See, my problem with the Sky Striker on the visor is thus the angle is a little bit off. Shading underneath the missiles is possibly a little bit too heavy-handed. I give it 3.5.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. 3.5.
No, that's excellent.
Amazing.
That is really good. Whoa.
Amazing.
Thanks, guys. I like that one. Yeah,
it's getting me Kirby fast here for too much longer.
So I will be dropping another undervalued video tomorrow. Okay, it'll come out tomorrow afternoon. Spoiling us. I'm committed
hit the notification bell.
Yeah, hit the notification. I'm committed to doing them every 2 weeks now. So I'm gonna hit another one tomorrow. And that'll drop. So that's pretty much all I've got planned. Who knows? I always show up on other people's channels. People ask me to pop in here and there once in a while. But yeah, that's
the generosity of this community never ceases to amaze me.
No. That is a great public service announcement, though. Check your subscriptions or people you like to watch. I've had a couple people had to resubscribe to me lately. I had to do it myself on channels I watch all the time. So
Yeah, sometimes they just kick you off. Like I was like, wait a minute, how come this guy's not putting up videos anymore? And you go and check their channel, and you're like, wait a minute, he's put out like 10. Why didn't I get notifications for it? That happened to me with that. Yeah, a few people. Yeah,
maybe that explains my dwindling viewership. They must be getting subscribed. It's not me.
Yeah. I keep fluctuating. That's why I haven't done my 600 subscriber thank you video yet, because it's gone up and down a couple times to below 600, then above, and then it goes below again. So I'm gonna let it sit there for a week before I do the video.
Mine fluctuates like 10 to 12. You know, within a week, it's like up and then down, up and then down. It's like a roller coaster.
In the last month, I've gotten 535.
Yikes!
You know, I'm pushing 1920 right now on my.
It's starting to get like 90 spec all over again. Watch out, people.
Yeah, that's right.
Smell it. Blood in the water.
Yeah, the blood is in the water. Yep.
It's not the same. It's not the same because we're not putting out millions and millions of comics. The way stuff works now is they only print as many as retailers buy. Right? They don't print a whole bunch of extra ones and have stuff sent back and all that kind of thing anymore. Right?
Well, no one cares about the modern stuff. I'm just talking. It's getting hot on the.
Yeah, on the back issue.
Even on bronze stuff right now, it's getting and copper. Yeah,
ridiculous. Comic books have exploded in the last year, like unbelievable. So, and they're going to keep getting bigger.
Bronze Age anymore.
They're going to keep Bronze Age. I went to my LCS the other day, and they used to have tons of Star Wars, like all the Star Wars, new, old, everything gone. All like anything, Silver Surfer gone, and gone. I was like, damn, you guys are really just like, yeah, I've been selling like crazy.
Maybe they'll start selling back issues again. What I wouldn't give to walk into a comic book with that or a comic store with back issues, but
mine has tons of back issues, and it's the most well organized store of all time. And not a bunch of like dirty old white boxes full of comics sitting on card tables at the back. These are all nice handcrafted wooden drawers that you pull out. Everything's filed alphabetically.
Whoa.
It's like Matt Wood's comic room, right? Yeah.
Give me the smoky back rooms. That's where you find the bargains.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Probably.
It's an old collapsible card poker tables.
You're paying for all those fancy wood.
Yeah, you're paying. That's right. You know,
I
want the yellow Bell's bags. I want those things yellow as like oranges. You know, like that means they're old in there. It's old, whatever's in there.
I prefer to buy my comics out of the back of vans in dimly lit parking lots.
Yeah, just like
it's true. That's where you get
those people. Yeah, I mean, that's the way to go.
All right, boys. We're going to end it here on that note.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it. Great episode. Actually, it was a really good episode.
Greatest Notes for life.
I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody that stuck with us. There's still 6 people. We went up to 19 at one point, so that's like, you know. I don't get a lot of live stream following on my channel. It's not really built for that. But do appreciate everybody that watched. Please tune in next time where we'll be doing, what number is that one again?
84, baby. DC Comics
84,
84.
DC Comics presents 84, Superman Kirby issue. Interesting. So,
very interesting.
That being said, like I like to remind people, Wednesdays might be new comic book day, but every day is old comic book day. And I will see you next time.